Hi friends, today we're painting a lotus on water. Call it a lotus or a water lily, whichever you like. It's a striking, realistic piece that's also really pleasant and straightforward to paint. I'll walk you through everything as we go. The main thing is to follow the sequence, the stages, and we'll be fine. Let's start by placing the big shapes on our sheet. The lotus sits up in the top corner, roughly on the rule of thirds intersection, maybe a touch higher. Then we have lily pads. They give the composition a sense of completion and frame the scene. You don't have to copy my layout exactly. This arrangement just works nicely and supports the composition. All the elements are simple: circles, ovals, gentle arcs. So feel free to shift them around until the balance feels good to you. I'm grouping elements in the corners like small clusters, which creates a kind of window. Inside that open space, we'll suggest a few fish. That way the composition has depth. You see the lotus, the surface, and you glimpse the bottom. The pads act like a frame that invites the eye to look in. With the main elements placed, I'll refine the lotus drawing. I'll clarify the pads and mark where the stems tuck in. In the lotus we have the centre, the seed pod. And if you've drawn roses or peonies, this will feel familiar. Same logic of overlapping petals. The flower is tilted a bit toward us. Up front, imagine 4 petals presented full face. As they turn away, the angle changes. Some edges curl, one petal might flip a rim, and farther around we start seeing more of the petal's back, like a little arc that tells us that part is turned away. We keep checking the next petal, then the next. Some lift, some curl toward us, and then the lower ones lie flatter, and we see them almost entirely. Your outer ring of petals may end up a bit different. That's fine. Just keep the rhythm even so the flower feels balanced, and make sure you haven't run out of petals on one side. I'll tweak a few lines, erase construction marks, and clean the outlines of the pads. Where stems peek through, I'll keep things light so they can glow later. The line drawing is ready. Time for colour. We'll start with the background. Big brush, plenty of clean water. I wet everything, really everything, except the lotus shape. I'm working on 100% cotton paper, like bao hong, which gives me enough open time to float colour cleanly. If your paper is simpler, don't worry. Just work in sections, top to bottom, and re-wet edges as needed so you don't get hard lines where you don't want them. Carefully preserve the petal edges as you go around the flower. Now colour. I'll use ultramarine as a base for the water. Where the leaves are, I'll drop in fresh yellow-green notes, bright lemon into a touch of blue for those juicy spring tones. And here and there a few violets down lower for depth. Keep it loose and patchy. Vary the mixes, let them mingle, then lift extra puddles so nothing floods. I'll add some splashes. A few controlled accidents are lovely here. You can even tilt the board for soft runs. These varied, granulating backgrounds are a joy to work with. As it starts to set, I'll tap in some clean water blooms for sparkle. We'll come back with a second pass and tighten what happened, but for now, this is our colour underlay. You can wait for the background to dry if you worry about smudging, or jump straight into the flower, starting from the centre. I'll begin with the heart of the lotus, a warm yellow, soft on the edges, so the little seed dots can sit naturally later. For the petals, I'm using carmine, rose. In some spots, I'll warm it slightly, but mostly I keep it fresh. The front petals will be more contrasty. Farther back, we go gentler. The richest colour sits in the centre and on the nearest petals. I like a simple gradient. Lay colour at the base of the petal, then pull it up with a clean damp brush. If that's tricky on dry paper, pre-wet the whole petal and then feed colour into the base. It blends itself. If needed, I'll glaze another pass once the first layer dries to bring up the intensity, then smooth with a clean damp brush. Along the side petals, keep the outer rim lighter. That edge catches light. Back to the centre, I'll drop in more colour. A few tiny red marks and dots radiating outward, short stripes where needed. Nothing fussy, just enough to read. At the petal tips, I'll soften a few spots with water so the points don't shout. A touch of warmth on the foremost petal helps it step forward. Now let's build the water pattern. On the second pass around the background, I start drawing the water. I paint around the lily pads, suggest fish silhouettes, and carve shapes with mask-like negative strokes. I vary the mixes, pick the ones that feel right, keeping the movement of the water in mind. Time to refine the pads. Add that glowing rim by leaving a slim light gap, then shading just inside it. Light on the edge, tone inside gives volume and a luminous border. As this layer dries, I'll pull in more lines and, later, cast shadows where pads overlap and where they sit on the water. One pad casts a shadow onto another. Show it with a slightly cooler, darker mix, and the painting immediately gains depth. As the background reaches a damp state, I'll do a few controlled drops and textures. Catch the moment, slightly damp but not wet. Or do it dry and lift gently if you overdo it. On dry paper you can lift for little pebble or bubble effects, like translucent bits under the surface. I'll strengthen a colour here and there, where a highlight is too stark. Better to add a breath of hue than leave it glaring. As everything sets, we'll need some crisp shadows, under the pads and along the veins. My shadow mix is a dark green nudged toward blue. No need for heavy purples, just a cooler, deeper green that recedes nicely. Under the flower there's a key cast shadow that really locks the lotus to the scene. I paint it confidently, then suggest reflections with the same dark green in light zigzag strokes. That broken, wavy edge sells the feel of moving water. You can use the side of the brush to hint at that motion. A few last adjustments under the pads to clarify where they turn, and we're almost done. This kind of painting leaves tons of room for play. Little details, colour nudges, soft drips, a few mixed droplets. It's satisfying and very repeatable. You might want to try different versions or paint from those beautiful photos you see online. This technique makes them look so effective without being hard. There, a clear, luminous water scene with a lotus. Looks wonderful, and I'm sure yours will too. See you in the next class. Bye.